Podcasting is popular nowadays. It is true listening where we can gather information or be entertained. It is being done by recording your speech, then publishing it. But for more professional effect and good voice quality, there are applications that are free to download. In this uncertain time where we embrace distance learning, podcasting can be a better way for educators to deliver their lessons. Good morning, class. This week is an asynchronous class. How are you? I hope you are all using your time productively, catching up with all your activities, but still get enough sleep, okay? Okay, so for our literature lesson for this week, we are supposed to have an online discussion about poem analysis. We will make sure that by next week, we are going to catch up on this topic, okay? So for now, let me have this audio to play about the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, and later on, an analysis about this.
The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and, sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere, ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
Okay, so you just heard the poem The Road Not Taken, authored by Robert Frost. Now, here is how I critique the poem. First, we need to study the structure of the poem, then understand the writer's purpose, analyze the content of the poem by decoding the main terms, and interpret the poem. In our synchronous class, that is where we are going to study the structure of the poem. I have to show you the structure, but podcasting is not appropriate for that, so let us just wait for the next meeting. Okay, now let's analyze the content of the poem by decoding the main terms. We have the road and the Yellowwood. Okay, now the road is an often imagery representation of a journey or path. What kind of journey usually signified by what it looks like. Is it grassy and is it narrow? Is it a countryside road or cemented modern city road? In the poem, the road describes as grassy and situated in a wood. Okay, now the Yellowwood, the color yellow being mentioned means autumn season, where by nature, trees' leaves turn from green into yellow and fall. And relating to human, this could mean old, considering yellow as a color of a golden age. Am I right? Now for the interpretation of the poem, let me just give you some of it. I would like to save some for you because that will be your assignment. You are going to make your own critique or interpretation of this poem and also try to study the structure of The Road Not Taken. Okay? So in order for me to look inside the author's minds and thoughts at the time he wrote the poem, I tried to look back on who they were back in time, Frost and Thomas. Also, as part of taking my own path of interpreting this poem instead of depending on the internet's available critics, let me provide this interpretation in a way how they lived during World War I. Maybe I could find the significance or relations of the words that Frost used. Number one, two roads diverge. Okay, I picture the speaker standing at the point where he needs to decide which road to take. Okay. Then, Yellowwood. Does this simply mean an autumn season, the golden age, or the war period? Does the falling leaves of an autumn only symbolize a man's final stages in life or a fallen soldiers? As part of knowing who they were and what they did, online sources stated that the poem made in August of 1915. The World War I was during 1914 to 1918. Okay, on July 1915, despite of his old age, Thomas Edward enlisted in a war service. It seems to me that the decision-making point happened before July or June maybe. And this, I'm sure, what contributes to Frost to write a poem dedicated to Thomas and the decision he made of joining the army. The Yellowwood was either a true sitting or just Frost's figuratively way of indicating Thomas' mature age in enlisting. Okay, so I hope you learned something in this podcast. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to message me. By the way, submit your assignment the day before our discussion next week. I also urge you to search for other educational podcasts to familiarize your ears in listening to podcasts, because for midterm, podcasting is your exam and it is an individual. Okay, Teacher Myra here. See you next week. Goodbye.